right size. So having said that, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Last year there was a quote that we used to open up the yearbook, but I think it's even more fitting to open up our grade level performances with our 4th grade. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you're a dreamer, a wisher, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. So we invite you to come in and explore Once Upon a Time with our 4th grade friends. They promise to take us on great travels. I hope that we set the stage for fantasy as you walked in. I know that Mr. Horwitz will talk about that later. But I invite you to sit back, enjoy the tales of literature that our 4th grade students will share with us. Good luck, break a leg, and best listening ears. Smile, everybody, smiles. Alrighty.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Why, hello there! Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a magical school called Sierra Canyon. It was at this school that the children read books of all genres. Yet in the 4th grade, the students had a favorite genre, fantasy.
Fantasy has the longest and richest literary heritage of all other forms of fiction. Indeed, fantasy could be said to be the basis from which other genres came from.
Fantasy's habit of taking real-life situations and characters and introducing them into a world where the unexpected, unexplainable things happen has resonated with readers since the earliest days.
Fantasy is mythical beings, supernatural forms, unrealistic settings, magic, magical creatures, good versus evil, talking animals, the impossible and unexplained, heroism, journeys and quests, imaginary
very first recorded literary works in history were fantasy. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Homer's Odyssey, the Book of a Thousand Nights, and the Night.
There were also countless other books that were the examples upon which modern literature was.
In the opening verse of Homer's Odyssey, the narrator asks the muse for inspiration. He prepares to tell the story of Odysseus and his perilous journey back to Ithaca after the battle in Troy.
Sing to me of the man, muse, the man of twists and turns. Driven time and again off course, once he had plundered the hollow heights of Troy. Many cities of men he saw and learned their minds. Many pains he suffered, heartsick on the open sea, fighting to save his life and bring his comrades home. But he could not save them from disaster, hard as he strove. The recklessness of their own ways destroyed them all. The blind fools, they devoured the cattle of the sun, and the sun god blotted out the day of their return. Launch out on the story, muse, daughter of Zeus. Start from where you will, sing for our time too. Come along and hear the stories told so long ago, about the gods and goddesses that ruled the world below. Tragedies and comedies and tales of love and woe. Scary parts that flip our hearts as monsters come and go. A masterpiece, the myths of ancient Greece. There's so many gods of love are best known in the land. They dwell on Mount Olympus where their lives are very grand. Joyful, jealous, sad, and mad, these gods make such a fuss. Making mischief, oh what fun, they're acting just like us. There's war and peace, the myths of ancient Greece. A masterpiece, the myths of ancient Greece.
Many of the most enduring works of popular and literary fiction fall within the realm of fantasy, such as Sir Thomas Le Morte.
While Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur was published in 1485, his Arthurian fantasies have been told and retold for centuries and incorporate the legend of King Arthur and his many companions.
This year, the 4th grade has read the great illustrated classic version of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
The 4th grade will now present a short retelling of the most memorable moment in The Sword and the Stone.
Long ago, there was a land without a king. After Uther Dragon had died, the realm fell into great disorder. Lesser kings contended with each other.
Knights fought knights in deadly battles, not fronted before again. Injustice ruled, people wished for a new king.
I will be king.
Said the wicked knight.
I will be king.
Said the evil lord.
I will be king.
Said the immoral king. And so there was a war. Old men fought. Young men fought. The young boys hid in the bushes and watched. Among them was Arthur.
The war must end. Heal the problems that afflict this realm, said the people.
The Archbishop of Canterbury summoned Merlin, the wisest man in the entire world, to bring peace to the realm.
We need a king, said the people. Merlin uses magic to create an obstacle.
An extraordinary bright and glittering sword and a marble stone grew out of the earth.
He who pulls the sword from the stone is the rightful king of all England.
Said the wicked knight. He pulled and he pulled, but the wicked knight could not pull the sword from the stone.
I can.
Said the evil lord. He pulled and he pulled, but the evil lord could not pull the sword from the stone.
I can.
Said the immoral king, but he too could not pull the sword from the stone. All kinds of people tried.
smiled and said,
Do not be surprised if among these famous kings and knights, not one is found worthy.
One day, Sir Kay broke his sword in a tournament with the most noble and accomplished knights.
Arthur ran to find his brother's armor. Along the way, he found the sword crushed into the stone near the cathedral.
Arthur leapt upon the rock and laid his hands on the hilt. In one quick movement, he drew the sword from the stone. Merlin shouted,
Long lives the king! Long live King Arthur!
Arthur was surprised. The people were surprised. The wicked knight, the evil lord, and the immoral king were surprised.
Merlin was not surprised. He knew all along that Arthur would become the greatest and most famous king that ever lived.
For Arthur was the true son of King Uther Pendragon, and him led the hopes of all England.
Fantasy is the only form of literature that blurs the boundaries between adult fiction and children fiction.
Lewis Carroll's book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass and Miriam's book The Jungle Book were both published over 100 years ago.
These books were written for children, but just as often read by adults think for an escape back to a simpler time.
In the Jungle Book, Mowgli is raised in a jungle by a pack of wolves.
Listen closely as fourth grader cites part of the Law for the Wolves by Rudyard Kipling, which explains how animals are given strength in numbers.
Now this is the law of the jungle, as old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that shall keep it may prosper, but the wolf that shall break it must die. As the creeper that griddles the tree trunk, the law runneth forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
Along with these fantasy books that have transferred our imagination, other characters from Peter Pan to Mary Poppins have enchanted young readers for generations.
Fantasy's timeless appeal does not allow children to travel to another world without having to leave the comfort of their own home.
But remember, there's only one requirement, a willingness to dream.
When our interest in books allows us to escape the monotony of everyday life, we celebrate the power of imagination.
Throughout our young lives, these stories have transformed our imagination and literally jumped out the pages of books in the form of music.
For example, in the Jungle Book, Baloo explains, wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I could be fonder of my big home.
The plot follows Mowgli, a young boy raised in the jungle by wolves. Thankfully, he is able to interact with the other animals who later protect him from the evil tiger.
In Alice in Wonderland, it tells of a girl named Alice who falls through a rabbit hole into a fantasy world where she meets fictional characters like the Mad Hatter and the White Rabbit.
This wild journey is considered one of the best examples of literary nonsense.
In Peter Pan,
free-spirited and mischievous young boy can fly and magically never grows up.
He spends his never-ending childhood on a mystical island interacting with pirates, fairies, and mermaids. The books of Mary Poppins center on a magical English nanny, Mary Poppins, who is blown away by the east wind to number 17 Cherry Tree Lane, London. How many of you have tried to say it spell? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, or clean your bedroom with the book in the hand. We owe it all to Mary Poppins. The fourth grade would now sing a collection of verses from these popular fantasies we all grew up loving.
Nature
an example of fantasy is J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, which has caused a revolution in the publishing world.
While these again are aimed at a young adult market, they have been an important read for all ages.
In the book series, Lord Voldemort strives to become immortal by using magic and wizardry.
He is responsible for the famous guard Harry Potter's forehead when he battled Harry Potter's forehead.
Every chapter draws in the reader the twists and turns of magic. From the flying cars, the goblet of fire, the Nimbus 2000, the students of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry display moments of good and evil.
As expected, good over evil prevails as Harry and his friends overthrow evil, making him a true hero to all marbles in the world.
Recently, fantasy has enjoyed an upswing in popularity. The primary reason of this popularity is the unexpected success of the Lord of the Rings series films, based upon the novels by J.R.R. Tolkien.
The immense popularity of the films has made it socially acceptable to delve into fantasy for the first time in the modern era.
In Lord of the Rings, the sequel to the novel The Hobbit, the fate of one ring lies on the hobbit named Frodo.
Magical creatures and Frodo battle evil and must destroy the force of the ring by throwing it into a volcano.
Fantasy novel sales have skyrocketed because of these fantasy series, The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. In fact, some reads have made household favorites on bestseller lists. Please enjoy listening to the 4th grade play the Harry Potter theme song on their recorders.
Today we have the opportunity not to only enjoy reading these fantasies, but we can also watch them come alive on both film and theater.
We leave you today with the most memorable song from the classic film, The Wizard of Oz.
In this song, Dorothy relays that dreams really do come true when you realize the love of everyone around you.
One
We hope the strength of fantasy has inspired you to dive into your own fantasy world.
From the Odyssey, King Arthur, The Jungle Book, Harry Potter, and many other classics, we know that there's a world out there that has yet to be discovered.
And after the 4th grade students had finished their journeys in the fantasy world, they all lived happily ever after, and their dreams came true.
All right, everybody. There's not much to say other than wow, right? Was that unbelievable? Did you enjoy that? Yes, let's give it up for our 4th grade, everybody. You know what's exciting for all of us is that we're the first audience in the history of Sierra Camp